I was just what, 9, 10 years old at that time. And that's when I was just like, I needed to fight in order to get me out of this situation. I needed to fight for my freedom. Because when I was a child, it felt really unsafe both at home and at school because of the cultural differences.
Hey guys, welcome back to At the Backdoor. If you're new here, I'm your host Yvanne, and today we are joined by the very beautiful Prathna. So you are full Indian, but
Yeah.
you were born and raised here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I was.
And you're so beautiful, but you experienced
Thank
bullying.
you.
It's due to cultural differences, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was due to cultural differences. I faced bullying throughout my entire childhood. Before, it would legit be, I did not know what bullying was till like to the point wherein there were some instances that just made me realize that what I was experiencing was wrong.
Yeah. So you thought while you were being bullied that it was just a normal
It was
thing.
just normal because I was what? I was
Mm.
preschool when I first started experiencing it. I thought that was the norm of how people of my color were treated at that point. But then, coming to a new school, having all of these people around you, and many of them were mainly Filipinos, and at that time, I was the only minority in the school. So it's just that they think it was okay to, to kind of have that repression on me, which at that point I was just like, okay, like, you know what? At least I'm talking to people, or, at least I'm having fun at that point when, I really didn't know what bullying was. But then slowly by slowly, I actually started realizing that this was wrong.
Mhm.
And the realization came actually like after like 4 or 5 years, to be
Wow.
honest.
Wow. So before we go to that realization part, what were your experiences as a kid? Like you were in kinder.
Oh my god. As a kinder kid, I remember like one of the first memories I had of me bullying was kids would always tell me to bring their lunch. Or, they would throw something and they'll be like, go get it, go fetch it, or something like that. I mean, at that point, I was just like, okay, like, I'm a nice girl, I'm gonna help them.
Yeah.
But slowly by slowly, you just know that that's not what it is. Other instances are also my lunch, like because I am from an Indian household, my parents are kind of conservative. We have our traditional Indian food, and I bring that to school, and I love it as well. But it's just that these kids, they would tend to just see my lunch. They would say, "Oh my god, it's so stinky. Oh my god, like what are you bringing? This looks like poo or something." And then they would throw it in the trash. That has happened to me actually.
Oh my gosh. Indian food's so good.
Yeah,
It
right?
smells so good.
It's like a pro trip, have some pani puris.
Oh my gosh. I just feel like since there's like a huge difference between like Filipinos or you came from an international school where it's
Oh, yeah.
dominantly Korean, right?
Filipinos.
Filipinos.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they're not used to that difference.
That different.
Yeah.
And they were also young that they did not even realize what they were doing was wrong.
Mhm.
You kind of get what I'm saying? So it was just majority of both sides of the party, the bullying and the victim. They both don't know what's happening. They just know that the bullying is just having fun, bullying the victim, but then the victim doesn't know what's going on. That was my childhood from around maybe kinder to grade 3. That's how it really was.
Yeah. So how did you realize that what I experienced was wrong?
wrong.
I shouldn't feel this way.
So there was this one kid in school. This was around grade 3, grade 4. That's when the bullying got really intense because the moment I realized that it was wrong was when he commented on my parents, on my sisters, on their looks. They said that they were super ugly, fat, and everything. But guess what? They've never seen my family. But they've never seen my family, and that's when I was just like, wait, this shouldn't happen. I don't see other people in my school, go through this experience. So why am I going it through just because I am of a different race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, after that, that's when I started telling my parents that like, hey, this is what I've been going through. This has been happening for the past so many years, and that's when like the courage really came up to like actually, take action. I was just what, 9, 10 years old at that time. And that's when I was just like, I needed to fight in order to get me out of this situation. I needed to fight for my freedom. Because when I was a child, it felt really unsafe both at home and at school because of the cultural differences. I like the environment that I was raised in was in a Filipino, I'm in a Filipino school and everything. So I am more adapted to that environment, but in the home, it's different. It's very the cultures of both worlds are so different from each other. So it was just really hard as a kid for me to adapt both house and both school. So it's just that the bullying really got to the point wherein the teachers started defending the bullying. They were just like, oh, like, but this kid is so young, this kid is just like this and everything. And then that's when my parents got actually mad. That's when the first time I actually saw support from my own parents, that this is happening to me. Because I mean, no parents would want their child to be this, but at the same time, the previous advice I got from my parents was don't mind them, or just like take it from one ear and leave it on to the next. That's what parents usually say. Because
Yeah.
what else can you give to a 10-year-old kid? What advice can you give them? You can't say just punch them or something.
Yeah. I actually hate it when people would say, or adults would say, just ignore it.
Just ignore it.
I think it's also very Filipino. Do you agree with that? It's also
Yeah.
very Filipino to just, or Asian.
Asian. It's an Asian
Yeah,
thing.
it's an Asian thing to repress all of the bad stuff, right?
Exactly.
And they don't realize that it has an impact. That you can't just let it go because emotionally your body also carry that trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But you
how
don't
you
really
experience
realize
that?
that. So the trauma actually it happened way after. So grade 4, I complained. The teachers expelled the kid out of school because we fought for this. It's not like we said and then they did something about it. We had to fight for it. But then like since then I still experience bullying from my own friends as well. But at that time I really tried to fit in, and this is like one thing I solely regret from my whole experience is that I tried to fit in as a Filipino in school. And right now, and at that point, I would tell everyone, oh, I'm not Indian, I hate my culture and everything, just so that I would fit in even more. But it never really worked out because my skin color was different. They saw it and that, they had that eye on me already. So then, like grade 6, grade 7, that's when things got really intense. That's when I actually got physically bullied by, some girls in school. And that's when I really couldn't have it anymore. I complained to the teacher, and then the bully, she came up with some excuse and everything. Obviously, they would to, defend themselves. The teacher actually supported the bully throughout this thing. And then we complained to the principal and everything. The principal told us this advice: you may leave the school. Instead of like, taking action, they just told me to leave the school. And then, I left the school and everything. It was just like, it was one of the most horrific experience, but at the same time, it was really life changing for me.
You were the victim, but you were also asked
To leave the school.
to adjust for your bullies. That doesn't make sense. I feel like these adults who are in power, they don't see how hurt a child could be.
Yeah.
They feel like that it's just a passing thing. They won't remember it since they're so young. You would grow out of it. I was also bullied. I was bullied more aggressively than you, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, you're not. You're holding on to trauma and you're just
Exactly.
spreading anger, and you're not defending the child that you're supposed to child, like Prathna, right?
Yeah.
So do you also believe that adults really don't see kids, that they don't see kids deserving of respect?
Yeah. Okay, so I wouldn't say all adults do, but I feel like most adults in Asian households, they don't see it as we should respect children, but rather it should be the opposite. The children should respect the adults no matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
Which I think it's completely wrong. Respect goes both ways. It's not like a one-sided thing.
Yeah. Like in Asian households, they would like smack children.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
in Western, you could go to jail for that.
You,
And-
you will go to jail.
Yeah. And Asian parents would be like, oh, these Westerners, they grow up so soft because they don't experience physical harassment.
Exactly. I don't get what's the point of that, but
Yeah.
you gotta.
Yeah. So I have a confession to make as well. I I used to bully. Okay. I used to bully boys. Yeah.
Oh,
Because I
interesting.
had such a deep hatred for the men in my life growing up.
Oh.
Yeah. So and you can't express that anger towards your dad or your brother, right? Because my mom would just be like, just ignore it, it would pass. So I don't have a safe space to let out my anger. And anger is a healthy emotion that we should all be able to express in a
Exactly.
safe way. It could be expressed safely. Just don't let it eat
Build
you.
up.
Yeah, don't let it build up and eat you. And but that's what happened to me. So I expressed it by bullying boys. And if you're watching, so sorry. I'm sorry for laughing. I really
Yeah, we
regret
should
that,
laugh.
and I'm sure. And why are we laughing? We're gonna get canceled for this.
No.
Yeah, I wish I learned early on that it was wrong and that anger could be safely expressed.
I mean, everyone has their realization, you know.
Yeah. So what was yours? Did you have like built up anger? Did you like
It was
seek revenge?
So for me, to be honest, I wanna first talk about how it impacted me on how I felt completely different from how I felt in my old school. So coming to my new school, you know, I obviously had the fear that I'm gonna get bullied and everything, and I was, to be honest, expecting that I was gonna get bullied because it was an all girls school. But literally, I entered the campus, and the first thing I heard was, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." And I swear to God, in my whole life, I never heard that line. Not from my friends. My friends were the ones that would call me ugly or like some weird names or something. So, I mean, for that 12-year-old child, because I was 12 at the time, it meant so much to me.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a complete 180.
it's a complete 180, and that to like what, within 3 months of summer? So, I mean, after that, I was able to make friends, and I was just like, so this is how it feels. You know,
Yeah, this is what
this is what it
healthy
feels.
friendship
This is what
feels
healthy
like.
friendship feels like. But then that's when it started hitting me, the anger inside me, that I felt so angry. I wanted to seek revenge from, you know, from my previous school, from the teachers, from the students, from everyone. Cause I'm not even kidding when I say, like, majority of the batch bullied me in my old school, like majority of them, and even the teachers, like they wouldn't do anything about it. There were very few teachers that would do something about it, and I extremely appreciate that because after, you know, them talking to the students, they would come to apologize, but you know the same thing would happen the next day. But yeah, I mean, going back to, you know, the anger part, it was just, you know, it was this anger build up that really turned into sadness, that turned into anger in the worst ways possible, you know. And I would say before, I did have anger issues because of this, because of of the cultural differences I experienced at home and at school. You know, you don't feel that safe space, and it just comes out in a negative way, you know. And at that point, I did not know what the process of healing was. So it was just the past 4 years. I was living life. I was happier. But at the same time, I felt incredibly sad. I felt incredibly empty from the inside. So yeah.
While we were talking off camera, you mentioned that the boys that bullied you, um, now that you're like you had a glow up,
Glow up.
they're like they would confess that they have a crush on you or they would
Right
reach
now,
out
that's
to
how
you.
it is. They slid into a lot of them slid into my DMs. Not gonna lie, because actually, I came back to the same school. And I'm not gonna lie, aside from the fact that I wanted to take the curriculum, because the school that I got bullied in had that curriculum that I really wanted to take, I wanted to show them that, hey, I'm a different person now. I'm not someone that you can bully. I am not weak. And I'm not saying the victims are weak. I'm saying that, like, I am stronger because of what you guys did to me. You know, what you guys did to me was very wrong, but it was also something that I am grateful for because, in a sense, I am 18, but I feel so much more mature, and I feel like I, I know what to teach other people. I know what to teach other kids on what to do. If I see this happening anywhere else, I know to speak up. Unlike there are many other people that just, plans to stay quiet with it. That plans to stay quiet because they don't want to get in trouble or something. So this whole bullying thing that happened to me in my childhood, it made me really vocal. It made me like advocate about so many different types of issues, which I think it is so necessary in our generation right now.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not thankful or grateful for the bad things that happened to me.
Yeah.
Because fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Because fuck y'all. I just feel like that I don't need to experience that to be me. I'm already
Yeah.
myself. I'm already
You're
strong
yourself.
as myself. I'm not. I'm just
Oh, yeah.
personally like that.
It's different perspectives.
Yeah, that's my perspective with it. So to people who are also being bullied or having bad experiences, you don't have to be thankful for your bullies or your abusers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like it's just different perspectives. Like
It doesn't have to be a thank you next song.
Yeah, that's so true. Ariana Grande.
Yes.
All right. So now that you mentioned that you have a glow up, what else do you think contributed that you're not being bullied anymore right now?
I feel like right now it's my confidence that really has gained throughout the years. I feel like before I would be so timid, I would like just give in to anything. Like if this person asks me to do it, I will do it. Fuck it. Like, okay, I don't care. I'm talking to people, I'm happy about it. But right now, I know when to say no.
Yeah.
And one thing about me is that I know how to speak with confidence. I know that I have my own self-respect, and these two things have really brought me up to places at this point. Like right now, I have got the most amazing group of friends that I'm extremely grateful for. They're my family friends, and it's just like having them part of my life. They are basically my therapist at this point. I could say that I've completely healed from my past drama because of these people. Like I've burnt it out so much to them at my anger issue space that it just made me realize that like I don't need to do that anymore. I can be happy without, I can be happy. I'm not saying to forget what you went through in the past. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying it's just that there was no right or wrong in that situation because schools nowadays now they do teach, but before when I was young, there was no awareness when it came to bullying.
Yeah.
There were no bullying campaigns,
and
nothing.
Kids are not born evil. They
Evil.
were taught
Kids are
that
never
way.
born
Yeah.
evil. That's the thing. They were taught that way, and not only that. I honestly would say that a lot of kids, from what I really noticed, they project their insecurities and to the victims.
Yeah. Like what I was doing, my anger towards my dad, I was projecting it to the boys in the
Yeah.
classroom.
That's one thing I've noticed too with my thing. Maybe it may not be with boys or anything. Maybe it may be a completely different issue for them. But
Yeah.
that's what I saw majorly in most cases. And those who didn't were mainly just following along to the trend.
Yeah.
Like when I was young, there was a thing called Prathna germs.
Oh.
No one would touch me because of that. And it's like it's like deprivation of love from friends and everything. But I mean, in the end, right now, I'm completely happy where I am.
Yeah.
I am happy. I am, I'm an aspiring model, and
Book her.
yeah, book me. Promotions, yarn. And not only that, I am doing amazing in school. I've got like the most amazing friends in school as well. It's just, life is very nice. And I am building a really nice, relationship. I'm trying to fix that relationship with my parents. So right now, it's just, it's really a
she's
turning
thriving.
point. Yeah, I'm thriving, man. It's a turning point for me.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, and I also think that it will give hope to the young people there that
Yeah.
are being bullied that you could move on from it. Like you could still be a model, be so confident in yourself, right?
Not only that, like one thing I really have to say is that things will change. Like I'm not like this might be a little bit of too much information. Hopefully it's not because it should be said, but there was a point where I was suicidal for the longest time. When I went to my new school, that's when I had all these tendencies because of the anger I had inside me and I was projecting that in the worst ways possible. And I mean the time where I really told my sister and my friends was in grade 10. So 3 years of me, having that feeling inside me that I don't want to live. And that's when I was just like, I have to talk about it, you know? Because if I don't talk about it, then it's just gonna eat inside of me, which is why I really don't recommend that, that it should be kept inside you. And anytime you feel any negative feeling, talk it out. But also, one thing I recommend to do as well is that ask the person, hey, are you open to,
Yeah, they have
listening to
space
me?
for
You have
this.
space for this because you really don't know what the other person is going through as well. So that's why you really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think the woke culture also affected why you're not being bullied anymore?
Honestly, I don't think so.
Hmm.
I have seen so many Indians, like just a couple of days ago, he's my one of my Indian guy friends. He got bullied in public transportation just because he was Indian.
Mhm.
Like there was this guy yelling at him or something just because of his skin color, you know? So I mean, I would say that the woke culture does have an impact on the youth, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has an impact on the adults right now.
Yeah, that's true. Like I feel like adults, since they are brought that way, they have a long way to go.
They have a long way to
than
go.
like Gen Zs, right? Because they're
Yeah.
more educated in these social topics, but with adults, they're not. And like I experience also Indians or African American
Yeah.
people, they won't sit next to that person on the bus,
Yeah.
right? And people would talk about it in Tagalog as if they don't have like context clues, or
Yeah,
if,
exactly,
right? They can
exactly.
understand you,
They
like
can
why are you being
understand
so
you.
harsh?
Exactly. It's like I feel like right now I'm so grateful that I don't get bullied anymore. I'm so grateful that I've come to the point where I can educate others, which I am really trying my best to do. If I see that happening, I really try my best to end it, not in a negative way, but like I really just explain in a nice, calm way because it's like we are in the 21st century, man. We're living a whole completely new life. It's a technology based life. We shouldn't be focusing on such tiny stuff such as like bullying other people. Like if you're a bully, you've got your own life to live. Don't try to meddle with other people's life.
Mhm.
Seriously.
So how did you shake off that feeling that you're not worthy, that your race is not taken seriously? Like how did you shake that mentality off?
It was actually when I came to my new school, I realized that like I should love my culture. And I actually learned my language, which is Hindi, pretty late through Bollywood movies. Actually, I wasn't really taught it, so it's really bad. But it gets me where it gets me places. But it's just like this cool. It really taught me that my culture is as important as anything else. It's actually more important. It is my identity. Come on. And I am so grateful for my friends at that school and my teachers because I love my culture so much right now. I'm deeply inclined through in with my traditions, with it helped me connect with my country more, which I really felt like I was never able to do because as a minority born in the Philippines, you don't feel belonged anywhere. If I go to India, I don't feel belong because hey, I speak different.
Yeah.
But if I stay in the Philippines, I don't belong because I'm of a different skin color.
Yeah. And the Philippines itself, they have like internalized racism already within themselves.
Yeah.
So for a foreign person to be living in the Philippines, that's such a racist country, if I may say. I bet that must have been really, really hard. And you've healed by having this community, this safe
The
space.
support system.
Yeah, so the schools is really a big deal.
It is.
Yeah, so what else could schools do for children? Because I feel like if it's like face to face, they can't really focus on the child if they're being
Yeah.
bullied,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure. But first of all, I would like to say is that if this is for like school officials and everything, if a child comes to you and says that he's experiencing any sort of discomfort, bullying, or any sort of issue, take action about it. Just don't be like it'll be fine, or don't try to calm her down by saying all these sentences, or like, pray to God.
Mhm.
That I've been told that pray to God, everything will be fine. And yes, for those who are religious, yes, it may work for them, but it really doesn't bring an impact. So, and it's just, what more can they do? Okay, to be honest, I'm not really a professional when it comes to these matters. I'm not quite sure on how I can suggest this, but like awareness campaigns.
Mhm.
Take strict actions in schools. Like there are a couple of schools here that take extremely strict actions, such as expelling students if they bully, which I think it is completely justifiable right now because schools are now being taught on the negative impacts of bullying. Like for me, that trauma that lived into me was like the worst years of my life, seriously. Like my closest friends, my sister, they really know how it impacted me. And I mean, if you ask them right now, even like they will tell you that there's a difference in me, that I am just so much more happier, in general.
Yeah. And yeah, if someone goes to you and they have a problem, no matter what their age is, even if they're so young, you have to listen to that person
Oh,
because that
yeah.
person is coming from a place of being so hurt, right?
She is. I mean,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, and if you're an adult and you're going to a person to open about something that hurt you, you're not gonna be like just ignore that. You're not just gonna ignore that person, right?
Yeah,
You're
so
going to
true.
try to help. So the same as with kids, they're not just being, I mean, nag-iinarte in Tagalog. They're just not
Being
being,
arte.
yeah. So if our viewers here who are watching that's been bullied and they're still processing and they're still healing, what can you say to them? Because I'm sure it really has affected their confidence,
Yeah.
their self-worth.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie when I say it takes a lot of time to get that confidence and that self esteem back, to get a good self esteem. So take your time, process the emotions in a healthy way. Cry as much as you want, get mad as much as you want, because it really helps. It helps taking it all out. And you know what? Have that support system with you to live in. I know that there's so many people here that have a hard time finding that support system, but it's just seriously anyone. Like even if it's just your neighbor or like just some guard or something that you can just talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would seriously help. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I feel so confident who I am today is really because of my friends who has helped me overcome through everything I've faced. Seriously. So grateful for them. So if you have that support system,
Yeah.
it's gonna help you a lot. But it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you know what? One thing that also actually really helped me is doing things that you love. Like, I'm not gonna lie when I say my parents aren't super comfortable with me doing the modeling thing because I get their perspective. It's not the safest industry. There's a lot of like negative stuff that happens. But it's because of this thing that made me realize my potential. I used to be that student because of my race and everything, and because of how badly discriminated I was for it. I really thought I was not good for anything. But right now, once I started doing this, once I started building that group of friends, I seriously feel like I have reached my full potential. Or I am going through a place where I'm
Yeah.
reaching my full potential.
And you're still so young, so you can
I'm
still
so
reach so
young.
much more.
Yeah, which is why I'm so glad that like even though this healing process was super hard on me, I have reached that phase that I could say that I am healed and I am so much happier. Even though sometimes I would say that I have my setbacks, sometimes there are days where I completely feel down. I just don't want to get out of bed, which I mean happens to everyone. Even though if that happens to me, I always tell myself that this is just for one day. Just sleep, just do stuff you love, and the next day you'll become completely better again.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable here, Prathna. I really,
Thank you
really
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting
If
me.
you guys, yeah, of course, and if you guys have the space to help at least one person, be that one person in their life that would listen to them and support them. So yeah, where can they find you? You wanna plug your
Oh,
social
yeah,
media?
sure. You can find me on my TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Prathna's Rib.
All right. So yeah, all of our social media pages will be down below on our description box. And of course, follow our social media as well. We are at the Backdoor on Facebook, Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more episodes like this. And if you would like to watch more, also hit the notification bell and please hit the like button down below. And if you have more questions, if you have more suggestions for this video, please comment down below. Me and Partner will try to answer your questions. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Again, my name is Yvanne and this is Partna, and I'll see you guys again on the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Then just something else.
Perfect.
Just post like a model.
It's like a model.
Just be.
Just like